here we have it. OpTic,
So,
T side.
NRG CT.
So, sorry, just to be clear, let's just see if they do switch things up. What was that strat again that they internally employed?
They were very aggressive towards the ramp room. They'd push the ramp room CT down, then they'd come wrap around towards heaven, they'd go up the ladder, and then they'd pitch the upper site. It was effective, I think, almost every time that they did it.
They do have heavy presence inside of the lobby early on for OpTic Gaming. They do have a decoy on the outer yard and a nice spread defense from NRG. Early aggression here. It's Navfly to catch an opening headshot. Rush going to do the same, but Gobby brings it back by 2. Shines in with another. It's kills across the kill feed. As we do have NRG eSports with a man advantage, bomb down in the open. Navfly trying his best to claw at the window, but he's stuck in the middle of it, and the positioning there definitely going to be a part of that demise.
Yeah, definitely difficult 2v1 when you get stuck in that window. Pete's having a good time, a little bit of heart and soul, brother. And I actually think out of all the teams in the entire region of North America, OpTic is the one, as we see some, who wooed, who was it? It was Peter. They're a team that counter-strats pistol rounds more aggressively than any other team I've ever seen. If they notice in the demos that a team plays, they go towards B every time, they will literally play 5 players there. So it's interesting that the aggression from NRG caught them out off guard, and I think maybe what they were talking about on the analyst desk, where there's not a lot of notes available on them, is part of the reason that worked.
This round, we've got the defense sitting on 3 UMPs. Plenty of nades across the board. Notably, no kit. So let's see if, of course, the T side can take the site. They do have themselves on Kevlar and upgraded pistols. No utility expended, or excuse me, left over after the expenditure. 1 flashbang. Naf, there's the first frag. Traded back. Tarek going to be doing a good job of at least clearing out these positions and then also additioning some site control. 4v3. Another player down. They have to be cautious. Tabson going to be rotating up towards the top of heaven. They do still have presence towards ramp, so this is a nice way to counter that B play.
Yeah, and so they were able to use just kind of the generic smokes out as we see another player go down, and now the bomb's going to get planted and see if they can hold this.
Tabson, sole man standing. No defenders left other than him, and he too dropped out of the equation. So it will be the T side picking up the round. They couldn't convert the pistol. That is awful.
No, I love the way this game's getting set up. You just saw Tarek there live on the camera wooing back.
There we
go.
go.
It's always good when you've got a little bit of a regional rivalry and you've got a little bit of smack talk early. It's all in good fun, but it's certainly enjoyable.
Now, of course, bouncing back, NRG eSports, that's going to be hurtful because not only have OpTic already found a T-side, or not only do OpTic have a T-side round, but again, it's so damn early on. They're going to be jumping right into the rifles. They've got the ump on their side as well, but the CT's left dilapidated as they've got only the Mag 7. Now, here we have Tarek finding an opening headshot once again. It's going to be the T-side with an early advantage. CT is going to be reeling in response to this, but Tarek's going to get sneaky as he continues to push towards Catwalk. This is nice. They can spread themselves all around. They don't have to commit to anything. As you see NRG, they've rotated 2 players down. They don't want to walk into this death trap.
Nope, and so they've got control of outside yard. They didn't really use any utility to get it, and now they have control of this secret area. And they can just slow it down, and they can wait knowing that NRG's a man down. There's a chance that maybe they push for a little bit of information, so slow things down and take the advantage when it presents itself.
Tarek going to be able to confirm the presence of the CTs. This is the reason OpTic is going to be pushing on in. He finds himself the frag, and immediately we see the execution. So they grouped on in it because he was allowed to get on into heaven. No out-yard presence for the side of NRG has allowed for this situation. The bomb's going to be dropped. Petey sitting on the Mag 7. Fugly still standing as well inside of lobby. But they're just letting it exit frags for the time being. Just giving it a second to see if OpTic decide to push out, maybe give up another weapon, see what they can do here. But the bomb is ticking down, and the T side look in a great position to convert their point like NRG couldn't.
Actually, a little surprised as we see Peter with the Mag 7. He is going to get this kill. He should be able to save. I would imagine he's going to swap over to that ump. Yeah, he's going to keep the Mag 7. I'm surprised that they forced on this, only because it's a map that, as a CT-sided team, having utility is huge. It makes holding the various choke points much easier. That secret hallway we just saw Peter get a kill, the ramp room, the hut, and when you and then we see there Tarek a little excited. He's feeling pretty good. Pete, not so much. I think the heart and soul is a little bit low right now. So we're gonna probably see a save come out. He did keep his gun up, and yeah, I was just a little surprised they forced there. I think NRG is a team that has historically not forced in some of those rounds, especially CT side, where the economy is so difficult to manage. And on a map like this, having that utility is key.
Yeah, especially when we've already been seeing a bit of fast aggression for the side of OpTic. Granted, of course, they know they're up against a weakened CT side, but moving forward, that incendiaries, those Molotovs, they're going to be all sorts of important for the side of the defense. But yet again, we've got OpTic spreading themselves thinly, going to have some presence on the outer yard as they peer outwards. tabseN's the only man out there looking for information because he has that USP. He will be absolutely useless at a distance. Tarek finds the opening headshot. Men are going to start falling here. This should be OpTic's to convert. Luckily, hopefully, Nafly will be able to find some kills with this MAC-10 because if he can start garnishing that bank, it's going to be a great start, an even better start for OpTic.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that this is around. A lot of times teams, especially if they know CTs are going to be pretty much no armor, they'll hit something very fast. It's very difficult, especially in SMG running full speed, holding mouse 1. You get tagged once or twice, the aim punch kind of finishes you off. But they did slow it down. It does look like they're going to go back to the upper site, and they're going to catch a player off not looking in their direction.
Still have now the execution forward. They're keeping an eye on their outward yard. They want to make sure, of course, nobody comes in flying forward with that Mag-7. It will be Peter on the opposing side of the doorway. But now we've got the engagement over towards ramp. It's 2 more frags to the favor of OpTic, and it's Peter, the sole survivor. Now, of course, at this point, he could look for some exit frags. They've cleared out the other avenues, however, so if OpTic are intelligent, which they should be, they'll just go ahead and leave him here. But he can try to sneak his way in if he wants. The problem with the Mag-7 is even if he peeks into the site, exactly, he has no distance here off that weaponry, so it's an easy frag for Rush, an easy 3rd round for OpTic Gaming, and now NRG should be able to bounce back in some regards.
Yeah, we are going to see the op come up on the CT side, but I think the Ts are going to keep the guns that they had. So they're going to keep the Galil, they're going to keep the Mag-10. It's not necessarily a free round, but it's a round that if you win, you distance yourselves that much further in economy. And then if you lose, you can still buy the next round. You can get the op up. I'm assuming we're going to see it out on Mixwell. OpTic is a team that does op by committee, so if it's on a map that he wants to op on, you'll see it in somebody else's hands.
That's true. It has transitioned away from him in the past. Moving forward into this round, it's only Peter with the op for the time being, notably Glass Cannon. Keep your eyes out for that as tabseN finds the opening frag. That one coming in from the outer yard. Immediately OpTic going to transition into the lobby, potentially setting their avenue of attack towards the A site. You can see them all starting to congregate, setting the flash. Door open, here we go. They're going to be pushing in. It's met with resistance as Legia finds the opening frag. He takes down a second, traded back from Rush. It's 4v2 and Gobby up close, taken out by that Mag-10. SMG on SMG action as Peter gets himself into the heaven. We have the player coming in as well from the side of Mini, so the CT's getting into position before they execute this retake.
Yeah, this is looking good for NRG. They know where one of the players are. They're able to get that kill and Rush on solo HP, that this is a 1v3 that there's almost no way that he can win. Slugly's going to finish that off, and that's a really good first gun round for NRG. Yeah,
they should be happy, but remember, of course, as you were saying, Ryu, OpTic came into this one without upgrading too many of their weapons, so for them to have found the bomb plant, in addition to 2 frags to the CT side, of course they will be able to rebuy with ease, but it's 2 frags nonetheless. Something to be proud of, considering, of course, that they went down 4v5 right out the gates.
A little disappointed I didn't see Peter back in the general direction of OpTic. I was hoping that was going to carry on the whole game, but it seems like it ended there with as Twitch chat's been spamming, Turok.
As always. No op on the side of OpTic Gaming. Despite the reinvestment into this round, they actually have a decent amount of utility, cash flow rolling, looking good, as are both sides. At least the score is getting closer and closer. We've got the inner push already from the Ts. Smokes, however, from the counter-terrorist side will slow down this round once again.
Yeah, and there's no op. That's an important note there. Maybe nobody on OpTic wants to op, or maybe they have something specifically that they're going to try to keep the rifles up for.
Well, with this wall of smokes, of course, it does sort of indicate the B hit, which that op necessarily doesn't come into usage. So tabseN, he has an idea as to what's happening here. He saw that wall of smokes, but he has 0 confirmation, and that's really the problem. The closest positioning to the lower yard is going to be Fugly, who is waiting to receive the push, now supported by Gobby. He finds the opening frag as Peter takes one down off of ramp as well. It's now tabseN with a timely flank, dropping another terrorist. We've got Stanislaw and Rush left standing. Make it Rush. 1v3. His odds are looking slim with the bomb down on the site as well. He will spot Gobby, catches the headshot, makes this one a little more possible. And as he retrieves the bomb, given a chance to plant, but he could get caught out in the open. He's got plenty of time to play with, and it's as he transitions into decontamination, he gives up his back, gives up the frag, and gives the CTs another round.
You got to feel good if you're an NRG fan, just seeing tabseN get a kill like that. His sensitivity is actually very low, and for him to snap like that, to get that instant headshot and quick frag, good timing on the flank, good rotates in position there. If tabseN heats up, it could be NRG's map to win.
ADR of 115 already sitting on Turok, excuse me, you're right. 2.33 KDR, so a great start for him. Generally, I mean, there've been strengths to the start of both of these teams so far. This isn't a map that's already starting to be a lopsided affair like we had seen earlier this morning.
We've got a lot of mustaches up on these teams. Tabson has one, Peter has one. I don't know if that's a Movember thing, but it's always good to see.
Yeah, hopefully. We're transitioning.
I was a little disappointed. Moses actually kind of grew his whole beard back in. I thought he was going to keep. He looked like Wade Boggs. I don't know if anybody knows the baseball player.
It looked good.
I thought it was pretty stylish, but he grew everything out. I mean, you even got a little facial hair on Naf. That's kind of rare. One serious-looking guy right there.
No smiles.
No
emotion
emotion whatsoever on him.
I mean, considering how explosive that start was, right? We did, I mean, just kind of to touch on it, right? The energy that's coming through, getting into the mines. I mean, with the setup we do have here at the Marriott, you can hear your opponents, I guess, if you're yelling loud enough.
I mean, somebody heard a woo in the very first round, right? They said who wooed, so they could hear each other. Hopefully they can't hear us.
Nafly up close, nearly dodges that death. Legia still committed to it, will drop out of the gates. It's a 5v4 for OpTic. Nafly opping Ryu.
Yeah, opping T-side. Usually, I think Tarek's been the secondary op for them, but as we see, it's going to be effective so far for Naf here on the T-side op on Nuke.
Doing a great job of opening up that squeaky door, gives him the line of sight into Mini. That is where he finds the second pick, and now we have NRG, the defense, spread across the map. It's Fugly in transition to join forces with Tabson on the outer yard. They'll probably look to take themselves into Mini together once this execution does come forward. It's a bit of a read here as Tarek catches that player outside. Gob B with a stop finds 2. Mixwell answers back with 1, but that's all the CTs will find in this round as OpTic Gaming bounce back with another victorious round.
Yeah, I think the op on Naf, especially in that hut area. It's not a super common area. You see people kind of hold passively with an op. You usually see it go towards outer. You could see it go towards ramp. I think that caught him off guard, and going up two-man with a two-man advantage early in that round definitely helped OpTic secure that round.
Speaking of securing rounds, OpTic now forced against the pistols. This one should be the conversion point. Of course, NRG could always have something sneaky up their sleeves. They do have a couple of smokes, flash, and Kevlar on their players, but it's pistols across it for weaponry. And OpTic Gaming setting themselves on the outer yard. Now that's a smoke from the counter-terrorists, maybe indicative of Legia's position as he does push forward. You can see Tarek now checking the boxes. He gave up his pre-aim smoke to do exactly that. Now it's going to volley on forward with the wall of it coming through. These NRG players are in a good position, but Stanislav finds the headshot. That's going to be crucial moving forward. They will be able to push themselves closer to that secret door while Rush simultaneously takes a little bit of a gander into the A site.
Yeah, it does seem that OpTic has enjoyed the outer push. They've done a good job using utility, good smoke wall. They put a molly behind it sometimes, and then we've seen them use a molly for secret stairs. We see some of these frags in this anti-eco round all going in the way of OpTic, and it's looking like it should be a clean one, as we do have Gabi sneaking in, and he will take one. And gravity is one of those things that there's not too many people I know that can beat.
Nope.
Other than A2Z.
A2Z can beat anything.
Yep.
Best player in the world.
Including gravity.
I mean, considering, of course, the buy into that round, that's what we expect. Terra's going to be converting themselves another point. So unfortunate, that fall.
Yeah, it's fun to watch that one back. I know Twitch chat's going to love that.
Even more unfortunate, of course, is the position of the counter-terrorists once again finding themselves on the back foot. Now, this time we've got an additional set of Kevlar, an additional set of grenades, and still these pistols, but it will be OpTic heavily favored once again, and already they find themselves executed out into the A site. Stanislaw to start this one off as Gobby tries to respond. It's 2 more frags to the OpTic side. Peter going down to add to it, leaves Fugly in a sole 1v4. Now he's trying to tap away with that P250, given the opportunity to at least deal additional damage, but he is denied, and OpTic going to take this one to an easy 6.
It's a really good change of pace. It's something that I think a lot of teams do but don't appreciate, and I don't know that the general viewing audience appreciates. It's like one of those things where you go A every round on gun rounds, but you go B on your anti-ecos, or your eco round, or your anti-ecos. It feels like to the other team that you're keeping it even though all the gun rounds are going the same place. That's a really good change of pace. It's been a little bit slow, not crazy slow, but the pace has been a little slow. And on that round, they just kind of brought the heat real quick and were able to take the upper side. It looks like they're going to keep that pacing into the second round.
Nicely done. Rush catching an easy headshot. That drops Tabson. So 4 players sitting to the side of NRG. Op in hand for Peter. As though OpTic, now they've done this earlier on as well, when they take that secret control and then slowly transition themselves back into the yard, they're going to try and pry into the A site, but currently NRG with a spread defense could easily hold this back. Unfortunately, they lose 2 frags. Mixwell going to be doing an excellent job of entry fragging into A as he finds a 3rd one as well. It's a big round from Mixwell, leaving it all on the shoulders of Peter.
He's going to have some really dirty peak Petes here. And I don't think they're going to give him the opportunity. He might be able to take one, and I imagine the second he fires that gun, they're going to be chasing. And we actually see as that shot misses, we actually see a timeout come in. So this will be the tactical. Imagine this is an NRG tactical to talk over what's going on and what they can change. Another round where the pacing was so fast, it caught them off guard. They took that first kill, traded out the player in the site. Really difficult for any CTs to kind of get back into the site at that point. And seeing OpTic starting to build a bit of a lead.
Would you say that based on that pace, it could be one of the key or one of the biggest elements of so far OpTic's success?
I think they've done a really good job kind of changing the pace. It did seem early that the gun rounds were going to go in favor of NRG, but we saw them switch it up a little bit. We have seen them put a lot of pressure on the outer area, and that's where Tabson's been playing. And if they kill Tabson early, that's so much firepower for NRG down. True. They're able to kind of bring it back. When they've kind of come out of that squeaky area, we saw Legia get 2 kills in the first gun round, I think. We've seen Gabi get a couple kills or a couple 2Ks in those types of situations. So I think spreading it out. It's interesting. Some teams would avoid Tabson. They're kind of bringing the fight to him at outer yard, and so far they've been winning more than they've been losing in that respect.
I'd suppose that'd be a good idea, right? Like you said, to take him out early, because if you have him out of the puzzle, then generally they're assuming the rest of NRG should fall with ease. And so far, that's exactly what we've been seeing. But now we've got the statistics on screen for you guys to take a bit of a look at. Leading the charge for OpTic, we have Tarek off 11, Naf quickly on his heels with 10, and the opposing side, Gabi, on the top of the leaderboard, something we're not too all accustomed to seeing.
Yeah, and that's generally, I don't know what the correlation would be if you were to look at the amount of maps NRG has won that Gabi's top fragged, because usually you don't expect him to be the one delivering that kind of firepower. It's usually going to be Tabson or Peter, and so got to be a little bit worried here. They do, the NRG guys do a really good job of making adjustments and identifying what the issues are, so they should be able to use this tactical timeout, unlike some of the other NA teams that take them more to break the other team's momentum than to actually make changes themselves. NRG should be able to make a couple changes here. I don't know if they're going to get aggressive towards outer. Surprised that we haven't seen Peter. There's so many weird angles in that outer yard to opt from. You can kind of see over the edge of a couple smokes. Wouldn't surprise me if they try to take a fight outer. Probably not this round, maybe the next gun round.
That's the unfortunate reality in this situation, is that once again, NRG find themselves at the disadvantage. It's pistols, a couple Kevlar, and a few grenades, but we haven't really seen them find much success in these rounds. There was the one time they find 2 frags, but other than that, it has been OpTic Gaming playing a very nice anti-eco.
And it looked like Naf went to the door real quick. I don't know if that was a timing thing where they opened the door as the nade exploded, but it seemed like they were coordinating something. He did take a peek in upper, didn't find anything, but it seems to be something that we should keep an eye on for the rest of this half. Naf looking for picks in the area of squeaky door.
Rush finds the opening frag this round. It was Fugly who tried to get something rolling as he pushed in towards from ramp. Now we've got a crossfire set between Peter and Gabi using the window and doorway of the hut. The op, once again, of Nav trying to find an entry frag through these angles. We saw him do great success with that earlier, but it's Peter now to take the position inside of hut, looking to find a bit of an entry. I mean, he's got to put his pistol in a powerful position, and this is exactly it.
Yeah, there's actually an opportunity for a double kill if he does it right. If the first player throws the op and he blocks his teammate, and you're this close range of the P250. Now this is just a little bit of a lack of discipline, and Peter peeking that. Just gave a little bit of information to OpTic, and didn't really get too much in return.
Now it's going to be Rush once again peering into the ramp room. Now he has support, of course, rotating it from Legia. All anti-eco kills rolling through as Stan and Law and Rush do great work to yet again deny any damage dealt. Gabi, quick on the heels of the offense, however, could very well catch them with their pants down. Naf, however, catches it out, but an excellent pistol shot finding the head, and a second one here as he is going to deal more damage. Gabi extending his leadership on the kill board.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Gabi came to play today. This is actually fun to watch. I used to joke that I think Gabi's best weapon is the ump, not because he wasn't good with the other ones, but it seemed like whenever he had an ump, he was going to get like a guaranteed 2K. And I don't know if it's just the way you can move more with SMGs, but there, that was a beautiful headshot with the CZ at range. Just a little bit too little too late, I think. I don't know if they're going to be able to bounce back. They really need to get these next 4 rounds. Otherwise, I think that OpTic's going to put a nail on this. And that was another one of those rounds I mentioned where your anti-ecos get played a little differently. I think that's the first time we saw 4 players just run through ramp. So it feels like you're getting pressured at ramp, but all the gun rounds seem to be doing this, setting up the outer wall smokes, and then kind of variations off of that.
Now, one little transition here is that op from Peter is now in the outer yard. He's waiting for the angle on the boxes. There is no smoke, of course, which would indicate that forward aggression from NRG. But, however, once again, OpTic properly employing the wall of smokes will be able to break off his vision. We see the rotation in the lower tunnels. It's going to be Gob B getting himself on the receiving side of Secret. But Stanislaw getting aggressive here. They're not going to go to the stairwell. Instead, they take it A. Legia to find an opening headshot. Tarek waits for the man in garage. It's a keen kill from Rush as we find the 3v2 to the favor of the defense. They've made their way into the A site. Rush has to continue to clear these angles because they know that the players can be quickly behind them, and the bomb is dropped in the process.
Yeah, so this you have to win this round if NRG. Very nice timing for Fugly on that peak. I actually thought if he had peaked just maybe a half second earlier, he probably goes down there. So it's a 3v1. NRG's a team that wins most of these. Most NA teams find a way to throw them. NRG just has a lot of discipline. They play good team Counter-Strike. Usually going to win this, I would say 90-10. So I just jinxed it, so Tarek's going to win this round.
All right, let's watch it out. Now, the first man he's going to have to deal with will be the man on the other side of the secret door. Does he peek the corner, though? That's the big question. Meanwhile, the rest of the CT is still playing outer. He does check it, finds the kill, but he's taking so much damage in response to that. And as he tries to wake his way to the B site, that's where he is received. So a nice initiative being taken by Tarek. The moment he is revealed, he just really tries to streamline that bomb plant. And of course, the man inside of Vents catches him off guard.
So the adjustment that NRG made after that tactical timeout is they wanted to fight outer. We saw the intent. Tabson was going to come up and help Peter fight outer. And I did think that they were probably going to move Peter to outside, and that's the exact change that they made. However, OpTic had the wall smokes outer, and it was one of their variations where it feels and looks like the same thing. They're going to go secret, but they actually took it upper. That didn't work, so it'll be interesting if they go back to what has been working, where they do get to secret, and they can put a little bit of pressure lower. Looks like they are setting up the nades, and I'm curious, it is Peter that we are seeing outside. So this is going to be the round that they wanted to be able to fight it, and there's the opening pick from Pete.
Now it's going to be Rush with a bit of verticality over the top of the smokes. Peter transitioning to the side of the blue boxes does have his attention caught upwards, but he finds himself a second frag. Tarek does the same. The response from Rush is found, and we sit in the 3 versus 3. So we were talking, of course, about OpTic's firepower, but we have seen these variations on their strategy also pay dividend. We do have Tarek now dropping as Gob B peeks wide, finds himself the second as well, and disengages from the situation, leaving Rush on his lonesome.
Another 1v3, and again, I think NRG is just a team that tends to clean these up. And I'm very happy to see that they made the adjustment, that they identified what the problem was, and I said that they're a team that uses those tacticals to make changes. They made the change. Peter gets 2 kills at outer. They have another guy ready to fight outer who also gets 2 kills, and now they put themselves in a 3-on-1.
Rush will have the opportunity to grab himself a bomb. Of course, time still 45 seconds on the clock. Bit of time to play with here to maybe potentially deal additional damage. We have to keep in mind, Legia was tagged earlier on in the round, sitting on 22 points of health, but there's so much utility still for the CTs that damage would be felt here. I mean, coming into this one, of course, their cash flow was looking fantastic for OpTic. They are starting to peel into that now as NRG have won a couple of rounds, or won one in about a second, but Rush has presented the opportunity to find the bomb plant. This is a saving grace and just an extra little bonus before he goes out.
And there's a lot of utility up on the NRG side, so I'm sure they're going to kind of coordinate something. We see one grenade get used, and he has the opportunity to make this work.
Not like this, Rush. Looking for the second frag. Legia down to 9. Rush down to 25. There it is, connected. He does take that second peek, but there's a very not too far away alternate universe where Legia is hit by a single round, and that takes him out. 1v1 versus Gob B. Of course, he's been playing fantastic, but another 3v1 situation that could have gone the opposite way.
Yeah, and what happens when you retake the upper site and the bomb is planted behind the silo, if you don't actually send a guy from the other direction, which is either going to be Hut, that's waiting and waiting and waiting and looking for an opportunity to trade, or more specifically Heaven, where you're kind of cross-firing the site, the person in the site can use that silo, which you can't spam. It does very, very little damage if you shoot through it. And that's like through the edges of it, not through the center of it. And you can isolate those one-on-ones. And Rush is a player that does that extremely well. And we saw there he was probably 1 or 2 rounds away from having a clean one-on-one opportunity against Gabi.
Once again, we have OpTic transitioning into their outer yard smokes. We do have the counter-terrorists employing smoke of their own. However, this time not playing close to it. So even the defense with a bit of a variation, just trying to keep OpTic on their toes. But once more, it is the slow play out. Naf with a cheeky setup nade. Where's this one going?
I think this is the one that we saw from CLG that goes to the mini garage from outer. It's like a super high arcing smoke.
Excellent utilization of those skyways. Now, Tarek blinded up on his attempt to execute forward, leaves Mixwell on his own. It's Gabi to take the first. Tarek trades. Legia coming up big with a 3K, and Peter plucks one as well. In a mere matter of seconds, Ryu, the entire offense is shut out of that round.
Yeah, Legia went Batman. I think he was on top of the hut, and I think he saw the smoke and jumped down behind them and lined them up. As we hear a little bit of smack talk, yeah, that's exactly what he did. He jumped off the hut, came in from behind, and is there a German equivalent of Batman?
I don't know.
If you guys know that, I'd love to see that spammed in chat or tweeted to me.
Botsman?
Because that's Legia might be the German Batman.
We'll have to get to the end of that one, but Peter, once more, putting him up outside. This is a nice transition. We've really been seeing him to commit to this because it was Tabson on the outer yard earlier. So really now, do OpTic come into this? Obviously, we saw them transition away from outer in the previous round. That op has been a pain in their side for multiple rounds now. Maybe a transition as they push on through hut. It's a trade 1-1, but Naf takes the advantage, and the site does fall. Naf finding the second frag does put NRG on the back foot. This retake will be tricky, but both players inside of heaven at least have to deal with that. Now, of course, the fire coming through, it's either extinguished or falls below. Bit of an awkward situation, but these flashbangs doing a very good job of at least slowing them down.
And this was another great change of pace. Stan is in such a great position here, completely surprises them in a 9-6 half in favor of OpTic. I don't like the answer to the question of who's the German Batman, so we're not going to even comment on that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And, yeah, so, I mean, a pretty good half, good adjustment, good recovery from NRG there. It'll be interesting to see. I think pistol round is a must for them to reel this one back. Looking forward to some innovative things. They tend to be pretty creative in their T-side strats, and this is a map that we haven't seen a lot of creativity on.
True. We did give respect to the firepower of OpTic, and then they showed that tactical prowess. We're going to see if NRG can do the same thing in the second half after a short break from our sponsors. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, what we've got on screen is the stats from the first round, or first half rather, of OpTic Gaming versus NRG. On the top of the kill feed for OpTic, we've got Rush, Naf, and Tarek really paving the way. Great start for them so far.
Yeah, and then Gabi, I said I think he came to play. I mean, he's almost at 100 ADR. He's +4, 16 frags in one half of Counter-Strike. And Legia, he got 4 of those kills. He did have the 4K, right? Or he had a 3K, as we saw him kind of Batman off the hut, jump down behind the smoke. Well played in that round. I think it's going to be a big pistol round for NRG here if they want to have a chance to take this away from OpTic.
I have to admit, Ryu, I am left asking, where is Tabson? Maybe he's found himself for the second half. We're about to find out with a quick pace from the T side as they start to barrel their way out into the A site. Rush and Mixwell, 2 opening headshots. Rush with another one. This push is shut out until Fugly and Legia bring it back by 2. But it's Legia on 14 HP to be quickly dispatched as OpTic take themselves to double digits.
So many weird angles in that upper bomb site. You saw Naf up top there. Just it felt like he lived forever. You know, there was 3 or 4 people peeking him. I guess they were shooting at the other guy in the site, but he just jumped around and survived up to the very end of that. And the upper rush strat did not work.
Immediately, of course, because there was no bomb plant, we got NRG bouncing back with some Tech 9's armor of their own. Lots of flashbangs here with a couple of smokes. They could definitely set some sort of a tactic into this one. Meanwhile, for the defense, a heavy SMG buy as they look to take the early momentum with that cash flow.
And there's some different schools of thought on this map and maps that are historically CT-sided. If you force buy all the time until you get to the max bonus, just to keep the CT economy so low, and then try to put them on a double save and run back a ton of rounds at once. I'm not sure which school Gabi kind of falls into there as he does open this up. And we're going to see it looks like a ramp room strat, but Stan in a great position.
Great
to get
position.
3 kills and no trade comes in.
Remember, of course, that's one of those positions that's been added since the renovations to Nuke, and this round it pays off greatly. 3 huge frags for Stan. Of course, he takes 70 bits of damage in response, leaving Fugly with at least 1 softened target, but he makes contact with Rush first and foremost. Man, hot on his heels. Tarek finding a headshot of his own. The amount of money made that round, Ryu, was huge.
Yeah, that's such a huge play from Stan, and if you're on the NRG side, you have to be able to trade that. The first guy that goes in kind of jumps to, throw off the aim a little bit, change the crosshair location. The guy that's second, at the very least the guy who's third, needs to get that kill. And it does look like Gabi does subscribe to that school of thought, so we might see him continue to force, assuming they don't win this round, probably the next one, and then you'll see kind of a gun round come out when they're approaching the max bonus.
This amount of nades, they definitely have to make proper use of it, or else it'll just be missed cash flow. They don't have any SMGs to play off of it, not a single player with even an Those upgraded pistols looking to make some damage dealt as they do work their way slowly into the outer yard. Now, as opposed to playing from the other side of the smokes, they do have 2 men on the short side of Mini. So with Tarek and Naf in these forward positions, Naf has to be incredibly cautious, but he won't be, which is to his demise.
Yeah, he literally just ran into the open, and that is a little bit different. You saw the smoke wall, but they're on the opposite side of the smoke wall that you normally see. But as I say that, Gabi actually was able to sneak down, and he's going to be lower taking a fight that he will not win.
Nope, Stanislav finding the response to equalize out at 4-4. However, do keep your eyes on the health of OpTic. Stan on 16, Tarek 37. Now, of course, there's got Leggy on 5, so these players barely left standing here. It's going to come down to the next few duels as Mixwell starts to pry into Hut. He makes contact with Tabson, drops him out of the equation into the man advantage. He could fall back from here, or he could keep applying pressure. He will. Finds another headshot. Great play from Mixwell. 2 separate 1v1s. Now he too is tagged, has to be extra cautious as he does look to take the fight to Legia. He's playing hyper-aggressive right now. For a good reason, I suppose, as he finds himself another headshot, leaving only Peter once again to clutch 1v4. It's just too much to ask for, and that will be OpTic finding another round.
Close but no cigar on that round. So many players get dropped, a lot of damage gets dealt. The pistols are obviously very, very strong in this game, as we see. Looks like Peter's thinking deep thoughts about what's going to happen in this next round, and they will not be forcing here. So it looks like a couple rounds in a row. Try to keep the CT economy low. Didn't really get too many frags in that round, so they abandoned that idea. Now they're going to treat it more traditional, save this round by next.
Now, unfortunately for the side of NRG, it was just Mixwell with that MP9 taking 3 separate 1v1s. He was able to put himself in a position that he forced the side of NRG to be desynchronized. He makes sure he gets himself into Hut first and foremost, trades it out to Squeaky. Just great play as Tarek, Naf fly, Stanislaw, and Naf once again take 4 frags immediately following one another. It's a clean round swept under the rug as OpTic head to the lucky 13.
A lot of confidence on the side of OpTic. You mentioned Mixwell the round prior to that one. He had 9 HP and he was willing to take fights with an MP9, and he was able to win them. So a lot of confidence out for OpTic, and we're not going to see the op on Pete to start this.
No, we got 5 AKs across the board. Plenty of utility to play with for the terrorist side. That one op in the hands of Tarek. So it did transition from Naf to him as they did switch sides. Going to be interesting to see where he does put that heading forward.
Slow start to this round. Doesn't look like they're setting. I think there's only 1 player outside, so not going to wall smoke early. Honestly, they were probably expecting a lot of aggression just in the way that OpTic's been kind of bringing the fight to them. We saw the reckless abandonment that Naf had in outer when he did go down, but then you saw people like Mixwell with an MP9, aggressively peeking in the hut, not really being flushed out of their position and willing to take fights. So it's a slow start to this round for NRG, and this is where I think their creativity and some of the innovation they apply to the game hopefully shows. We still have a lot of utility up, and I always love to learn new smokes and mollies, so hopefully they teach me something here.
Now, of course, we did see them wait for that first push. Now we see players spamming in multiple portions of the map, trying to elicit a reaction from OpTic. Nothing found as of yet. They're playing incredibly disciplined here. They do have an opening pick as Tarek pushes forward towards the red box, catches out Fugly, and gives the defense that initial advantage. Peter going to be doing a proper thorough check, but there's nobody there. It's Stanislaw from the ramp to find an opening frag. Gob able to trade it back, but at what cost? The health for the T side incredibly low, and now they're just in this awkward moment where they're not sure to commit. Tarek will punish them for trying it, and he drops the bomb in the open as well. 3-piece for Tarek to close the round, 4K in its entirety. Excellently done from him.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why it's always good to get control of Secret if you can. Outer and the Secret area are basically the only areas of the map that are fairly easy to get control of T-side. When you do that, the player in the vent can't just sit there and re-peek, especially if they have an off. They can't take clean one-on-ones because they have to worry about if you're going to be pressuring from behind, if you're going to push in, maybe go to that door and take a fight at close range at an off angle that they're not expecting. Tarek started that round off with a pick on Fugly at outside, and they had no pressure to really kind of follow up after that, and was able to do a good job. And I apologize, I called him Tarek. I know it's supposed to be Turok.
Nafly finding the opening. It's going to be the CTs once again across the kill feed, leaving Peter to drop in from Mini. He nearly finds himself the frag, but Turok denies. Look at that, Ryu. Another easy round for the side of OpTic Gaming.
Yeah, and that's map point. And that was a good change of pace from NRG, like that at least, but it just seems the firepower is just reigning supreme in this one, and OpTic one round away from taking this best of one.
Now, you were mentioning, obviously, the school of thought behind the process of T-side buying, and what I do want to point out is it's nice to see that even though NRG did have a delayed gun round because of their force buying, they've had guns every single time since. Even if you count, of course, the upgraded pistols with nades, that's some sort of weaponry outside of a vanilla save round this entire T-side. So it hasn't worked out for them exactly, but at least it's been there. Tarek will find the opener once more towards the outer yard. NRG looking to transition towards the ramp as Tarek just plucks another one. This man is on fire with this op right now. Mixwell as well to find the M4 frag. It's Tabson and Fugly left standing. Stanislaw peeks wide, and with a one tap, he closes the map. It will be